I hope we're going to have a fun time together during this webinar, which is about online lessons, how to teach English lessons, or in particular, any languages online. So I'd like to start with a short activity. It's a kind of get to know me, okay? I'm going to put a link in the chat box, okay? And I'd like everyone to click on the link, and the link will take you to screen where there is a short game, okay? You need to click on play the game, and there's a kind of true false questions. You need to just answer true or false, and these are about me, okay? So some people might ask the question, of course we don't know, but I think this test is going to help you know me to some extent. Okay, just a second, I'll share the link now with you. Hey, one. Good. Okay, please click on the link. I think it must take about less than 2 minutes to finish this game. Okay. Please finish it, and then we'll come back here and we'll talk about it. If you reach the end of the game, would you please write in the chat box for me? Done. Well, thank you very much. There's some people still playing the game. Okay. I suppose everyone must have my slide on the screen. Is that okay? Okay. Sam, can you help me on this? Can you see my screen? Okay. Let me share you a quote by Confucius, one of the famous one of the famous philosophers of all times, the Chinese philosopher. If your plan is for 1 year plant rise, if your plan is for 10 years plant trees, if your plan is for 100 years educate children. Remember that game, because we'll do an activity with that game. Okay. In my slide, you have 2 pictures, and the reason I put these pictures is I need to make a contrast between 2 things. And I need you to think carefully on this and to think about what is versus what, okay? And I'd like you to write in the chat box just 2 words, something versus something. I need to highlight a contrast between 2 main topics related to our webinar. Okay. Sahan, some people are complaining about the voice qualities or echoing voice. Do you have the same problem on your side?
Yeah, I do have the same problem.
Do you know what might be the reason for this?
Zoom from 2 different devices?
I'm sorry?
Have you signed in from 2 different devices?
No, I haven't.
Let me check something here.
Okay, I'm reading some answers. Semi-live versus totally digital. There is no voice. Picture on the left is the learner and picture on the right is the teacher presenter view. Good, lovely answers. And group work and typical teaching, light versus dark, one versus many. Okay. Thank you very much for people writing on the chat. It might, someone wrote in the chat box, we need to be muted. It might be a solution. Just let's try it. Let's make sure that everyone is mute, people. Thank you very much. I can also make everyone mute here. And do you still have the problem, voice problem? I think it's not echoing anymore. It's okay now. Thank you very much. Fantastic. Solved. Thank you very much. Who is that lifesaver? Yalda Fateh. Thank you very much. Okay. Anyways, thank you very much for your lovely answers. They're all great answers. But but the point I need to make here, again, whenever someone unmutes, I get echoed again. Okay. Thank you very much. All the answers are correct, but I just needed one answer from my perspective, okay? Because I need to take your attention to one big contrast about this. And what I wanted to mention was, just a second, online versus live, okay? So these days, many people use these 2 terms alternatively, on online lessons or live lessons, but basically there is a huge difference between online and live lessons. You know, online lessons is basically a lesson which is pre-recorded on a device, and students or learners can have access to that video or that material anytime. They can pause on it, they can go back, review it again and again. But live lessons are just just happening right now on the time of teaching learning process. Okay. Thank you very much for your lovely answers. Right now, I'd like to take you out of this presentation and take you to somewhere different. Most probably you are familiar with Padlet. Okay, so I need to take you there, and just before I take you there, I need to share my screen to show what you're going to do there. So please give your attention to my screen, please. Okay, I have already created a Padlet. I'll let you know how we can produce it later, okay? So again, I'll share a link, and by the time you get access to that link, I'll ask you to just kindly come here and make a note. How you need to produce that note is by either clicking on that plus sign down below here, or by just double clicking on anywhere on the screen, you can create your Padlet, okay? So you might need to write a title or not, and then write whatever you want to write. So what I'd like you to do is, I'd like you to think about the activity that we did in the beginning of the webinar. Who am I? Okay, that was the name of the activity. I'd like you to think of this activity and just share your thoughts and ideas in just 1 or 2 sentences about how and when we can do this activity, which age group we can do this activity or it's most appropriate for, okay? So in just a second, I'll share the link with you. And then I'll put the link in the chat box now. Now you have access to the link. Could you please click on the link and go to the Padlet and start writing about your thoughts on Who Am I activity that we did in the beginning of the webinar. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Some people already started writing. Okay, since you don't have any accounts, if you already have any accounts, I'll see your names, but if you haven't created accounts already, you will be shown as anonymous user. So it doesn't matter, no matter you have your names there or not, okay? Just write what you think about the activity. Fantastic, very good. In a moment, I'll share my screen. Of course, everyone can have access to whatever other people are writing, but I'll share my screen to give some explanations on this. You know, you may think of this activity when and where and how we can do this activity, which age group this is appropriate for, which age group is not. What are the drawbacks of this activity? What are the strengths of this activity? Very good, some nice answer. Thank you very much for your participation, guys. I think it's a useful warmer activity that we can use for almost all age groups and levels. Fantastic. It can be used on different occasions with younger learners as a warm-up activity. So, I'm sorry, I lost your notes. Activity. Personally, I prefer to involve students and have them have a role in finding the teacher. However, if the it's more, okay, message not finished. Okay, great. We can use it as a warm-up activity and it's a perfect activity. Good. Multi-levels. It's suitable for the first session as an icebreaker. Very good. Thank you very much. Okay, thank you very much. So everyone can has access to all the Padlets here, right? Okay. Now, I'd like to take you there to my screen to show you something about this activity and the platform that we are right now working on. I'm sorry. Suitable for kids and teenagers. Thank you very much. Okay, people, right now you have a variety of course, you can, anyone can change the color of their Padlet just by clicking on the three dots on top of every one of those paths and just change a color or edit it, delete it. You can do just everything you need to do, okay? But in the next stage, so most probably many people know this platform. Padlet is a very, very powerful free platform that you can create a lot of Padlets. Of course, with the free version, you can't produce more than 3 Padlets. You need to delete them, some of the old ones, or you may archive some of them and come back and create new ones. But with the paid ones, you can create even more, which the paid ones are not very expensive. So your thoughts are already created, some of them with my students already. So the one that I shared with you is this one. Great. In the next step, I'm going to do some settings on this Padlet. As you can see, let me show my cursor screen. Okay. In the next step, I'm going to go down below the settings and click on the comments section and release the comment button, and also click on reactions so that I can choose one of these voting tools like or dislike, vote yes or no, or you can star any of the comments or any of the grades. Okay, or you can grade any of the comments. Okay, so here I prefer likes. Okay, so I click on that and save my settings. You may need to refresh your browser again to be able to comment on other people's activities. So right now, after you refresh your browser with the same link, I'd like you to this time stop writing and go and read some other people's comments. If you like it, you may press on the like button and let's see which one will get the most likes. Okay, just spend about 2 minutes, people, to quickly review some of the comments, and if you like it, please click on the like button. Some people have connection problem. I'm just dealing with taking people in and out. Okay. Okay, I can see that some of them has got a lot of likes. 6 likes for, we can use it as a warm-up activity and it's the perfect icebreaker. Please, if you can, please, you may just put a comment below the Padlets, each of the Padlets. Okay, 3 likes for, I think it's a useful warmer activity that we can use for almost all age groups and levels. Great, 4 likes for RSU. Great, 5 likes for, it's suitable for first session as icebreaker. Very good, excellent. So some comments on this, the one with 6 likes, I agree. Great, fantastic. Okay, so for just now, I'd like you to think about why I prefer to keep the comment button off in the first section, and then I release the comment and like button later. Can you please write in the chat box the reason I release the comment button later for a later stage? Exactly. Exactly. Especially with the young learners, when you do these kinds of activities, they focus on liking, or if you, for example, if I just intentionally decided not to choose like or dislike one, because with your learners, it might turn into liking, disliking each other's, and just start writing comments, sometimes inappropriate comments to each other. You may decide to turn them off, or you may decide to turn it at a later stage, when after they have, all of them have got full participation of the tasks. Okay, for instructions. I think she doesn't get distracted at first. Absolutely, yes, Yelda. Great, thank you very much. Great points. Great points. Okay, so please, I mean, the time of this webinar definitely will not allow us to go and work on the detail don't allow me to go and show you all the details about how we can create Padlets, but please have this website in mind, and please go and work on them. If you're not familiar with it, you can create plenty of great ways of different tasks and activities that can engage your learners and take your students' interaction to high levels. Okay, to get back to my presentation. Okay, so on the next slide, we've got again something versus something. So this time this will be much easier because you already found one side. Live, this time versus, again, you can write in the chat box, live versus what? Great. Yes, great. Live versus face-to-face. Great. Thank you very much. And now, can you please put some, actually, in the beginning of the webinar, I decided to not use the chat box. Yes, very good answers, very good. I decided not to use the chat box frequently because this is the tool that we use most of the time. So I decided to use my time to show you as many different ways as possible that you can use these free tools in your lessons to make your lessons more interactive and more different. I mean, I personally believe one of the reasons that, especially in online lessons or live lessons, when one of the biggest reasons why learners get frustrated or bored is because there is not a great variety of activities and tasks, or even the ways of feedback is the same, the way the delivery system is the same, the activity type is the same. So it's really a big challenge for teachers in live lessons, I personally believe, to make the lessons really diverse and different and make them really interesting so that it can catch students and learners' attention. Great. So in the next stage, I'd like you to think and focus about the challenges or maybe let's say the pros and cons of online lessons or live lessons, let's say live lessons compared to face-to-face lessons. So I'd like to take you somewhere else, and this time I'm going to take you to a virtual whiteboard some of you may be familiar with. That is Google Whiteboard or Google Jamboard. So I already created 2 columns for you. Please, you can use your pen or you can use the text tool to write just one word about pros and cons of live lessons. I mean, compared to face-to-face lessons. Just one word or phrases. I'm going to share that link. It's very easy, super easy to create whiteboard. After you create your whiteboard in, let's say, some tools like Google Jamboard or Microsoft Whiteboard, then simply you click, can you please stop the annotation tool? Because I need to show you a way that you can, I'm sorry, Didam, I'm going to clear the screen. Thank you very much that you started using the annotation tool to write here, but let's do it in a different way. I'll give you full access for the same whiteboard so that you can use it. So by clicking at this share screen, share the link, I can copy the link and send it to you in the chat box again, so that all of you can have access to link and comment right and the right place. Just a second. Okay, here's the link. You can click on the link and just put your comments or what you think about to be pros and cons of live lessons compared to online lessons. Can't access the file. Okay, I'll share it one more time. Can you try it one more time, please? It's already public. I made it already public. Okay, let's put the comments in the chat box. Okay, let's put the comments in the chat box about the pros and cons of live lessons compared to. Okay, I'm sorry, there is a problem with the file. I think I forgot to make it public for everyone. Okay, can you please put in the chat box about the pros and cons of live lessons compared to online lessons? Thank you very much. Okay, class management is more difficult in online sessions. Definitely right. Samira, yes. Motivation and engagement, student motivation. Live lessons give the teacher opportunity to take advantage of the technology much easier. I think you're right. Dealing with live lessons is much more challenging than face-to-face lessons in terms of taking your lesson to a really high and creative levels of interactivity. Because in face-to-face lessons, you have more access to what's going around in your classroom. But imagine you have 20 or more students in a virtual room that you cannot have access over their what they're doing, for example, if they're actually listening to you or whatever they're doing. I mean, the best way to make sure that you have a good classroom management, I think, is by engaging them, creating and generating some activities that will just attract them to sit behind computers and focus on your lesson, not, for example, especially with young learners. I'm sure that there are many teachers who are always complaining about young learners that they pretend to be on the screen, but they're actually playing some games. Why not creating some activities that are even more fun? More fun than those games. Okay. If a teacher is skillful to manage the class and teaching the online is perfect, I agree with you. Proves wider diversity, access from anywhere if the time zone is appropriate. Definitely right. That's right. Okay. Thank you very much. Eye-to-eye contact, live lessons, great. I think one of the other problems that we have with online lessons is the distance that we have with students. I mean, the emotional side of it. I mean, we shouldn't ignore the psychological side of the issue. I think, especially in this pandemic area, I remember from the beginning of the year, I had some students that I had never seen before. I just met them in my online lesson, in my live lessons. And there was a period here in Turkey where schools opened again and students and teachers could meet each other. And it was really a different feeling when we met them and they met us. I mean, there might be some ways that teachers can get closer emotionally to students in live lessons, but it's really difficult compared to face-to-face lesson because we don't have an emotional touch to the students. Okay, thank you very much for your great comments. I was reading some of them. Thank you very much. Let's now continue with my next slide. Okay, great. So in the next slide, I need to make some main distinction between some fundamental principles of live lessons or anything related to online platforms related to teaching and learning. Okay. In the first place, we need teachers need a platform to deliver their lessons. Okay, we usually call them live meeting platforms. Okay. And the next main part is learning environment or virtual learning environment. In short, we call them VLEs, or also known as learning management systems. Okay, these are, many people confuse these two topics. Okay, these two different things actually. Okay. Live lesson is a place that you deliver your lesson. Okay. there are some tools there. You can play around with the tools to in order to deliver your lesson, like Zoom or uh, Click Meeting, Adobe Connect, or just Microsoft Teams or Google Meet. On the other hand, the virtual learning environment is the environment or platform that usually the educational institutions provide for their students. They're usually pricey, and but still there are some free ones that you can have access to some of them, but with some limitations, okay? So the basic purpose is for these virtual learning environments, or VLEs, is to organize a virtual system to keep track of students' participation, assessment, or just sending and keeping track of their projects, homework, assignments, anything related to outside the platform study process, okay? There might be some courses, there might be some discussion forums that can take place among students in virtual learning environments, okay? So the most famous of these ones is Moodle, which is very, very useful, but it's still, some features are, you need to have the premium account to use it. And of course, Google Classroom, thank you very much, Anna. Google Classroom is one of those environments, okay? I will give you more examples of these in next slides, and you can decide based on your needs, based on your students and your needs and your students' needs, you can decide the best one for yourself, okay? Then the next one, what we have here is the tools that you have in your platform, okay? These are the tools that you're using inside your live meeting platform. So think about the tools that you have in Zoom, for example. You have a virtual whiteboard, or just the annotation tool, or breakout rooms. These are the tools that chat box, file transfer, things like that, okay? Basically, these are the same in all of these live meeting platforms, okay? But I personally believe this is the best part. These are the tools that you have outside of the platforms, okay? And these are the tools that you usually don't find inside these platforms, okay? For example, inside Zoom. For example, if you want to have a very short and quick way of assessing your students, okay, you need to use some web-based platforms like Quizzes or Kahoot or Socrative, or let's say Google Forms. Okay, the best thing is about these things. Think about the activities that I asked you to complete in the beginning of the lesson. It took me just maybe minutes or just seconds to create and make these activities ready. They're really quick, they're really fast, and they're most of the time they're free, okay? I think this is the precious side of teaching live lessons, and that these are really powerful tools that can engage our students and keep them very enthusiastically behind the desk, and forgetting about their games and focusing on our screens, okay? Then there is the issue of the relation between these environments, okay? These tools and environments, okay? I mean, there is an extra line you see here. This shows the connection between the learning environments and the other tools. It means that some really powerful tools like Moodle have all the other tools outside those platforms for free inside. Of course, that you have to pay for them, but they all have in uniform form, okay? Then what you need to do is just stay in one platform and not using a lot of them. Really, Moodle, if you are subscribed to one of the premium accounts of Moodle, you can use most of these tools for free. Okay, then you don't need to jump and switch between different tools outside the platform. Okay, so for short, I need to, in the next slide, I'm going to show you some details about each of these topics, okay? So for live meeting platforms, these are the platforms where teachers and students can meet during a live lesson, and some of these platforms can be used for webinars as well, okay? And again, Zoom or Moodle. Of course, Moodle cannot be used for this purpose because it's a virtual learning environment, but thanks to its nature, which is kind of open source platform, you can integrate some of the live meeting platforms into VLEs, I mean, like Moodle. Some examples of these are Google Meet, Microsoft Teams, Zoom, Skype, very limited functionality and tools. Click Meeting, very good for your purpose, for all purposes, and also for, it has lots of webinar tools. Adobe Connect, the perfect one in my opinion, but it's very pricey. Next, we have virtual learning environments, or VLEs, or also known as learning management systems. Again, we talked about these. These are the platforms for, they deal with the digital aspects of course of study, usually within institutional education institutions. They deal with the activity interaction with the students and learners inside the platform. They provide a variety of tasks and forums, discussion forums, presentations, and projects to deal with inside. One of the best ways to deal with the assessment system, a unified assessment that teachers, parents, and institutions can keep track of students' progress there. Okay, some examples of Moodle, Blackboard, Schoology. Edmodo is free, people. Of course, you can use it. Of course, there is a paid version of it, but the basic features are very powerful. If you're not using a large society of students, please try Edmodo, okay? It's very, very useful based on, of course, your needs, okay? I'm not always recommending free tools based on your needs. Again, you may decide to use some of the tools which are pricey, you know. My suggestion is always think about your needs. It might be worth trying some of the premium accounts. Microsoft Teams, as you can see, I wrote in both sides because it has some functionalities of virtual learning environment. At the same time, you can have meeting features in it. And also Microsoft OneNote Classroom with limited functionalities. Okay, some of these tools, again, inside platform tools, are examples are whiteboards or annotation tools, screen share, breakout rooms, chat box, font transfer. I mean, some of these nonverbal feedback icons that it has, you can communicate nonverbally inside your platform. The remote control feature is sometimes very useful. And finally, my favorite part, the most useful ones, the other tools outside platform. Of course, this group includes a vast variety of tools and technology that can substantially facilitate teachers with loads of possibilities and options in teaching. I mean, these are the best ways that can help teachers make their teaching less teacher focused and more student centered. Okay, the first three ones are best tools for assessment or some creating some very short quizzes. Like these are Kahoot, very famous one. Quizzes, very, very useful, especially for live lessons. You know, with Kahoot, you have to share your screen, but with quizzes, it's very, very easy to create questions and quizzes inside quizzes. Just think about the spelling as well. And also, you don't need to share your screen. You just send the link to the students, and they only have to click on the link, and they will have a different view from the instruction from the teacher. Okay, Google Jamboard, Microsoft Whiteboard, very good tools, very handy tools that you can use in your lessons. Wordwall, unfortunately, it's very limited to I think, 5 different sources, but just paying, I think, about monthly $10, you can have access to loads of different sources in Wordwall. It's very, very useful, and it has lots of useful activities that you can create in just seconds. Believe me, just seconds for your students. Mentimeter, again, very, very useful one. I already created some activities. I think if time allows, I will try to use some of these and show it how to create and how to do activities in these. Google Forms, Google Docs, very, very useful, again, for assessment, especially for if you want to have very quick, formative assessment in your lessons. Google Form is the best option. Please try it. It's completely free, and you can create just, finger votes that you do in your classroom in seconds in Google Forms. Okay, Answer Garden is another option. Screencast-O-Matic and Snagit. These are 2 powerful tools that you can use for screen capture technology. I mean, what you can use with these tools is definitely, basically, you can capture what is on your screen. Okay, it can include your webcam view or without it. For example, imagine you're going to give feedback to your students. You mean, it takes you away from the traditional way of giving feedback to students. You can go over lines, highlight some text on your screen, and at the same time talk to your students and send this video file that you created in just seconds to your students. And maybe you can flip the roles by asking your students to do the same and send record something and send it to you, for example, as a kind of speaking practice. They can do it. Another reason you really need to focus on these screen capture technology is, I think, even after many people believe that online live lessons and the tools used for live lessons will lose their popularity after we get back to schools. Maybe to some extent, yes, but there's some tools that I think will never lose their popularity and will gain more popularity. And one of these are screen capture technologies, like the applications that can record whatever is on your screen. And this is the kind of personal touch to your students when you're giving feedback to your students. Screencast-O-Matic is very handy and powerful. There's some features which are limited in the free version, in the standard version, but you can use it. You can record videos up to 15 minutes if you want to use the pricey one, but with full functionality, Snagit is a better option. But I have been using voices. How much time I've got, please? If you're there, Sam, can you tell me how much time we've got? Okay, I think he's not here. Anyways, people, I'm going to get through my final thoughts and final advice and the summary of the session before we finish. It's been an hour, yeah, almost, but we had about 10 minutes delay. I'm sorry about this. There was a technical issue on the ITS side. Okay, anyways, these are the points that I think they're worth to mention about if you're an active teacher having live lessons. Okay, choose your live lesson platform and the virtual learning environment according to your and your students' needs. Make the most use of the tools and the technology that you have available. You know, you don't need to have access to loads of tools. Even sometimes, even a photo of on your screen, a photo on your background can be a source of activity for, as long as you can use your creativity and imagination. I mean, teachers are loaded with powerful tools. Okay, so next is, I said, why not considering paid tools sometimes, again, based on your needs, your students. If you're teaching private students online or live, maybe this is a really good option. Sorry, just sometimes I need to check the chat box. So as soon as I learn how we can get access to the audio file, I'll share it in the same post that ITI shared in the Instagram. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so always make a list of anticipated problems and their solutions, especially in the live lesson. Think about malfunctions in technology. Maybe one solution is to have an alternative device, your phone or your tablets. Okay, the next is, again, we all know that variety in activity patterns and activity types is the essence of high-level interactivity in the live lesson. So use the right tool in the right place and the right time. Make use of a screen capture technology for giving feedback. Fill up the roles. Why not asking students? They will learn technology really, really fast. Okay, really much faster than us. They love technology. They love working with the technology. They will learn it and they will do whatever you're asking them. Believe me. Use technology and let students give feedback to your lessons. Why not? I have already created a feedback activity of to get your feedback about this webinar. If time allows, I will share it with you. Unfortunately, I think we don't have much time. But still, it takes you seconds. For example, in Google Form, you can create, or quizzes, you can create it. In most cases, the feedback is very constructive. Again, I said linear grading, question types in Google Forms are very good options. For formative assessment, they're very good options as well. Use a variety of assessment tools in your lessons. There are loads of different catchy tools that you can use, especially for formative assessment. Don't forget screen capture technology, very useful for this purpose. Respond to the student-generated content. This is highly important, people. One of the reasons that students are demotivated, they're not attracted to your screen, is because they don't know what, or maybe they know actually what's going to happen. They know that nothing is going to happen. They know that after they do one task, it will be untouched. It will be there with no use. Please, if you can, respond to their content, the content they have created, the content that they have generated. Okay, for example, after they did something in a group work in breakout rooms. Okay, so for example, let's say they wrote a short story working together. Okay, then take them back, switch the rooms, and switch the participants in the rooms and pair them with other participants and ask them to read the story of that group and analyze and give comments about the other group. Okay, and then use technology. Using technology will help your lessons become less teacher focused and more and more student-centered, student-focused, as long as you use a variety of unit lessons. One of my favorite tips: record your lessons, watch them, listen to your voice and your lesson, to the ways of delivery, to the interaction patterns, the way that you deliver your lesson. Think about your strength, think about your weaknesses. Definitely, this is a very, very powerful tool that you can use. Believe me, you need to try it. And finally, don't forget, you can practically turn anything which is on your screen into a learning asset by just using your imagination and creativity. That's my advice and suggestions on how we can the things that we can use in our live lessons to increase productivity in our lessons. Thank you very much for everyone's time, but of course I will stay here to answer to some of the questions. I hope Sahan is here. Are you here, Sahan? Can you hear me, please? Javad, yes, I did myself in ITI, and I did train the trainer in ITI as well. Thank you very much for your lovely comments. Thank you very much. You're so welcome. Of course, Samira, you can ask a question.
So hello again, and thank you for your wonderful presentation. It was really useful and fruitful. Just I have a question regarding the term offline, because in Iran we use it for those classes that are recorded in advance, and then students can watch it at home. And then we use the term online actually for example, the Zoom meetings and etc. Now I got that there is a difference between online and live, and I want to know what is the difference between these two terms and offline classes.
That's a very good point that you mentioned. Can you believe me? There are things that I'm Iranian. First of all, you might have noticed from my name, but
yes.
the thing is, I have been here in Turkey for a long time, and the thing is, I really didn't know some information about the lessons and the school systems during the pandemic area. And the thing is, I just learned some information, for example, today about the similar type of the lessons that you are talking right now about lessons. I really don't know what to call those kind of lessons, semi-online or semi-live lessons. But actually, I don't just focus on giving names to to make a contrast between them. I mean, think about what I think is always try to think about finding solutions for the place that you have difficulty with. I mean, try to use the imagination, try to use your creativity, how I can use the best from the tools that I have in my hand at my disposal in the best way. I think this is the most important thing. I mean, not giving name to, not trying to find a name for that activity. What kind of lesson is that? I really don't know what to call that kind of lesson. half online, half live. You're so welcome. Here I will be. Okay. Thank you very much. And welcome to your questions. Please, you can unmute and talk to me, or you can write in the chat box. I'll try to read your questions. Thank you. A hybrid lesson, actually, a hybrid lesson is used, Anna, hybrid lesson is used for a lesson that you have just now, by the time the schools restarted again in Turkey, some of the parents didn't allow their kids to go to school, and we had some kind of hybrid lessons. The system was like, we were at school teaching face-to-face to the students, and at the same time, there was a camera capturing us live. That lesson could actually be considered as live and online lesson, because the students have access to the live teaching delivery, and also even for those who couldn't have access to the live lesson, the lesson was being recorded and they could use after the lesson. So that was the term was used for face-to-face and live at the same time. And synchronized, yes. Why not, Samira? Yes, they were streaming the lesson live for those who were sitting at home. Thank you very much for Samhay71. Forgive me if I couldn't pronounce your name. I'm so happy if I just could add just a little thing for your already known information. Thank you very much. I think I need to end the meeting right now. Thank you very much for your participation, for your time, for your dedication. I hope to see you in a different time and a different webinar. Thank you very much and goodbye to everyone. Goodbye.